Welcome to the spot. It's time to ignite. Oh yeah. Operation Hangout. The feeling's just right. Chilling with the crew. We're ready to groove. Opinions flying high. Come on, let's move. Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Pull up a chair, let's get in the zone. Voices blending smooth like a funky trombone. Oh yeah. Topics from the heart, making us think. With a twist and a shout, raise up your drink. Cheers. Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Bring it down, shake it up, feel the beat. With every word we share, the circle's complete. Living loud, think it proud, that's what we do. Oh yeah. Join the club, come on through, we're waiting for you. Alright. Hang out all night long, all night. Laughing and debating, playing our song. Oh yeah. Share your thoughts, don't be shy. Don't be shy. Operation Hangout, let's reach for the sky. Let's fly. Hang out.
What is going on, everybody? We're back at another stream, another live. You know where you're at. You're at Spartan. It's I'm your host, the Spartan. So, technology. Technology always fascinated me because it's evolved so much. It changes. And I love how to see where it came from and where it is now. A huge evolution. But before we get into it, I gotta put my guys up. Come on, you know this. Let's bring the first person in here. He's from the UK. You know how he is. He was gonna dance his little dance. What's going on, my dude?
Hello, dude. How you doing?
Not bad, not bad. All right, our next person. He is the president of the 7Bs.
What's good, sir? What's going on, guys?
What's going on, Mr. President? How are you doing tonight?
Doing well.
By the way, happy birthday to your wife once again.
Thank you. Great night, beautiful occasion, and she was very touched. It was a surprise. So, just keeping it from her with all the folks that were involved, those who showed up, who were actually with her earlier in that day. I was just thankful that nobody gave it away in regards to the surprise. So she was really caught off guard, and it was very emotional, and it was just a beautiful night. She definitely appreciated it.
Okay. So, technology, you're in this field, so you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's Greg in first. Greg, give me your opening thoughts about the evolution of technology in your eyes.
The more new it gets, the better it gets. That's all I can say on that.
That was very simple, but okay.
Basic but straight. So you can say is that the more technology evolves, the better it gets. You got to think about that from the 60s, from the 1940s, or the First World War, all the way up till now. Technology back then to now. They just then back in World War II, they just literally generated the sonar system, didn't they?
I believe so.
Back in 1942, in World War II, no, 1930s, something like that. And then it just progressed over the years. And then you've got TV technology. Paul might remember this because he's about 100 years old. You've got the old TV remotes used to be on cables, and now it's all wireless. It's all infrared. So technology is brilliant.
Nice. What about you, Paul?
Well, it's almost like almost a part two of what we talked about on Tuesday. Science and versus religion. I think technology has certainly done much to shape our world, but I mean, technology goes all the way back to fire, right? When man learned how to create his own fire, that's kind of where technology got birthed, and then it's just been a constant evolution of man pushing boundaries. I think part of it is in my view, a command from God to again subdue the earth. So it's learning about how the earth works, and so mastering these sciences of again biology, chemistry, physics, and then how to apply them in a way that helps us to navigate the harsh environments of this planet. How do you grow your own food? How it's about survival, and survival, the need for survival as well as the need to conquer, unfortunately, had been the major drivers of technology. Some guys just develop something because it's cool, but in other instances, technology's oftentimes been developed in a way to for how to survive or how to conquer someone else. And so that has been really where it's at. But I think we're to a point now. I remember that famous line from Jurassic Park that that I said that the character he said that you worried so much about how you could do something, you didn't worry about whether you should do something. So again, with all this science and technology, I think there's also a question that has to be raised in terms of ethics, and where is this going, and what are the outcomes from technology on humanity. Going back to like Shelley Finkel's Frankenstein, 1931. Can the monster, can technology be a monster at the end of the day that will ultimately look to replace us? How many science fiction movies have been based on where the technology gets smart and just takes over and wipes us out? You know what I mean? Is that going to be happening? I mean, certainly it's affecting jobs. I mean, I was just reading this past week, Amazon is looking to replace 500,000 workers through AI and robotics in the near future. So yeah, I mean, so technology is great. It can do a lot of powerful things, but I thought the idea of technology was, again, it was to help humans live better and be better and reach our full potential. But if it gets to a point where the technology replaces us, then I think that's a dangerous path to be on. And so, that's, so it's I like I said, I'm a fan of it. I love new inventions. I love the new gadgets and whatnot. I remember friends of mine used to go. There's a big tech expo that happens every year in Vegas. And prior to that, I remember growing up, used to have the World's Fairs. That was like a big event. I mean, global events. Last one in this country was back in 1983 in Memphis, Tennessee. Was the last one in this country. Probably one of the most known one is probably the one from 1964 Expo in New York City. So if you watch like Iron Man 2, that whole expo scene, that was from that fair. I've been to that site in Flushing, New York. They still have the globe that was from that. It still stands there. Really? And those World's Fairs were meant to show you what's coming, what's the latest developments in all of these scientific fields that we're talking about. The first television set, I think, was run at a World's Fair. So again, it's yes, there is an excitement about it, but I think in these times, and I think people from differing opinions and views and whatnot, like I said, when we talked about religion the other night, people are concerned about where this tech is going,
Mhm.
and what boundaries are we pushing, boundaries that that should have human beings concerned. So again, as much as I'm in awe of it, is probably the best way to think of it. But it does come with some risks, that more and more people are starting to have the conversation about. It's like, do we stop advancing as people, as human beings? And the last thing I'll say is, I know I've been long stroking here. There's a famous speech in Star Trek from Captain Kirk, where basically sums up, he says, risk is our business. And he talks about, again, the question is, should we go onto this new frontier? Should we push? How far should we push things? And he goes into this long speech about man has always been pushing and reaching for things. And definitely, that side of it as well. But again, we have to ask ourselves some questions, because with that comes some certain dangers.
So we are right now. I was literally just watching this a minute ago. This guy was part of one of the parties. He tried to run for president in New York mayor, and he warned everybody back then, AI is going to take over people's jobs. But I really don't want to focus on the negative today. Let's focus on the positive, because this is hangout. We're supposed to have fun here, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So, do you remember? Okay, you probably remember the first computers you had in school, right?
Yeah.
How big were those motherfuckers?
They weren't massive. I mean, they were blocky. I mean, I think the first computer that I ever, and again, I want to be talk generally here, because the first computer I probably had was like a handheld game, right? That's technically a computer in there. But as far as like a basic kind of computer with a keyboard and a monitor or whatnot, it was probably in high school. I would say we had Apple IIc, and Apple IIe, and we learned basic programming through that. I remember one of my projects in senior year, we had to actually we made a video game, and the video game was kind of based on Defender. Remember that old school video game Defender. And so that was like early on, and then when I went to college, that's when I bought my first computer, which was a Mac. It was a Mac SE2.
Here we go
And it had a little 9-inch screen, but I was blown away by it, because Mac, that was one of the first computers that was out there that allowed digitized graphics, digitized animation, real MIDI soundboard with realistic sounds and whatnot. So even though it was like a black and white screen, it was like I said, at the time, it was like a breakthrough when the Mac came out. And I remember the first Mac commercial in 1984. And that was a major, revolution in computing. And, so for a long time, I was a Mac guy. But when I say got into professional work, it was a PC world. So I graduated to PCs, and I pretty much work with PCs now. But yeah, I mean, those early computers, what they've been able to do in terms of productivity, in terms of gaming. Again, those were indeed fun times, because you got to see every year what was new, what people were doing, graphics, desktop publishing, etc. All these things that were just new worlds and new careers were being birthed out of these computers. And so it was definitely an exciting time, and I was just glad to be there at the birth of it.
The old operating system I remember was, and it's a PC as well, was Acorn.
I don't remember Acorn.
I vaguely I vaguely remember Acorn. I never worked on one.
I've
But
never
I
worked
did.
on one, but it was back in my school days, back in the early 90s.
Yeah. Yeah, there were a lot of burgeoning computer brands at that point. Atari had a computer system that was very similar
Really?
to the Mac. Yeah, in fact, it was the Atari ST. It worked off the same MC 68,000 processor that the Mac used. You also had Nexus that came out. I think that might have been um,
Oh shit.
another Steve Jobs or former Apple employee that came out with that. You had the Amiga system that was very popular, not only with graphic artists but also musicians, because again, that was one of the first systems you can really put your keyboard into it and really help create music and that sort of thing with the Amiga. So you had several, and then of course you had IBM. You had I think Gateway was another big brand. I think back in the 90s, they were famous for, like, they had this cow mascot that would be in all the commercials and everything. So Gateway was a major computer early on, and then a few years later, you had Dell opened up I think in the mid 90s. So it was a lot of companies kind of competing for different spaces, depending on what you wanted. And again, with the birth of, like I said, computer gaming, I think really broke out in the the 90s for sure, when you had all those systems started to come out, well, late 80s into the early 2000s. Like I said, there were a lot of systems. And I remember when I was at school, last point I'll make is Sun Microsystems was a big deal back in the 80s and 90s, because their machines ran off of RISC processors, and that was just a very high end sort of a microprocessor. So when I went to Rutgers, a lot of the schools used Sun systems for a lot of our classwork. We had Sun machines. You had these computer labs you would go into and you would do your work there. But even then, it was like probably I would say probably at that time, I was in school from 87 to 91. I would probably say at that time, probably I'd say 1 out of 4 or 1 out of 5 students owned a PC of any kind, whether it be Mac or PC.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Because again, you had labs. Like if you wanted to go do a computer, especially doing finals or whatnot, labs were open 24 hours. So you could work on a Mac. You could work on a Mac or PC or Sun system. A lot of those Sun systems, yeah, those facilities were open 24 hours a day.
I didn't know that, because back
in
New York, where I was going to school, I remember the first computers. You're gonna laugh now. The teachers used to roll them in a big box, like a TV almost, right? And she unlocked the cabinets, 2 big cabinets. The screen was literally like not even half of mine is. You remember the big box screens, right?
Yeah.
And we had floppy disks.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm like, the fuck is a floppy disk? So that was my first experience. My second experience, and I never liked them back then. I'm kind of starting changing my mindset lately. The iMacs. Remember the Macs? The screen ones?
Yeah.
They were like, and remember the commercials for that shit, bro?
Vaguely.
I'm gonna look it up. I don't think I'll get copy strike for that. They making fun of PCs. It was a pretty funny commercial. I'm not gonna deny that.
Yeah.
God, the old first touchscreen PC over touch was back at school, and that was one of the old massive CRTs. You have to literally a special program that you had to run in the background to actually have the touchscreen on it. You know what I mean? The old literally tube on the old CRTs.
Right.
They were huge. I've actually got some old computer hardware sitting around here somewhere.
I do too. I still have my floppy. I'm a bit of a hoarder, and so I still have in my basement and in my closet, I still have some 5 1/4 floppies. I still have my 3.5 inch floppy disks. um, all from college. It's like my wife, she'd be like, you need to just get rid of stuff. I can't. It's
You sound like a hoarder now.
I can't. I mean, it's like I remember the games. I mean, Erica knows he would come over my house and we would play a lot of the computer games at the time. He mentioned Load Runner, was certainly one of the games. Then there was so many titles that I had. And it's like I'm like, yeah, it's like I can't throw this away. This is like I'm literally like I have history here, and I don't know if I can give that away. So there's just a part of me that just won't. But again, I have old cables. Apple used to work off of an interface called SCSI. So before USB, you had SCSI, SCSI. They called it SCSI.
Oh,
and
do you remember when games were on cassettes?
No. No, I never on a three. No, but I got, like I said, I could run now and I can show you floppy disks. And again, these are
I know. I remember I remember them huge ones that you used to get. 5.5 inch page drive ones.
Yeah. So I still have some of that stuff. It's like, and my wife said, why? What? I can't, because I think a lot of what I remember also back then, and this is one of the mistakes that I did not. I wish I would have corrected. Because back then, the problem with owning a Mac back then is that there wasn't a lot of backwards compatibility. Like when Mac went to like a new CPU, they didn't care. Steve Jobs at the time, they didn't care whether the old stuff worked or not. It was basically saying, look, you need to buy a new Mac, which I think for some people, I think they got tired of it after a while. And I think that was one of the things that allowed people to gravitate to a PC. Because even still, the Intel processor, right? You had the 286, the 386, the 486, and then you had the initial Pentium systems and et cetera. They all had backwards compatibility, which means you didn't have to throw out all your games and your software in order to get it to work. And I think that was one of the biggest mistakes that Apple made. And, because they had a very closed off ecosystem. It was Apple software, Apple hardware, an Apple environment, and they wanted you to stay there. And they didn't care whether or not your software was compatible with it. So again, you're working at school, if you're working on a Windows machine or DOS machine, Apple for a long time didn't care. You had certain companies, though, they started to create some crossover software that allowed you. So let's say if you did a Word document in like an early Microsoft Word, and you needed to go to Apple or vice versa. They did have these programs that would convert the code so that it could run on a Mac or a PC. I did a lot of desktop publishing and a lot of graphics work in college. I got pretty good at it, actually. And a lot of people.
Hang on a second. I want to play this commercial really fast. Old school Mac versus PC.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember those two guys.
Hello, I'm a Mac.
And I'm a PC. I actually just finished a home movie.
That's so funny. I just finished my own home movie. I did it on iMovie. It was really easy.
Well, I doubt it's as excellent as mine, but I'd be happy to take a look.
Yeah, that would be great.
Roll it.
Hi, I'm a Mac home movie.
It looks really professional, right?
Well, great. Bye.
Wait. What about you, Squeezy?
Please.
Well, okay, sure.
What's up? What's PC home movie?
Work in progress?
Back then, they used to go for the juggler on both ends.
Yeah. But I think the problem with Apple was at the time, I don't think Steve Jobs was necessarily concerned about the overall marketplace, right? Again, he had a view that, again, he wanted to create his own ecosystem. And, he didn't care if 80% of PCs were owned by Windows. He only cared about the 20% community that he was creating. So like I said, he didn't necessarily play nice with others back then. And
never did.
Yeah.
Even now.
And so
he was until the day he died. He didn't
right. Until the competition was such, he was forced to. Now, when he left Apple for some time, the company was really struggling at that time to try to maintain that kind of manic drive for perfection that he did. And then he came back. When he came back, that's when he got to iPhone. That's when he got to iMac. That's when he got all those other.
And this is the argument me and David has been going on for a while now, and it just sucks he's not feeling good, and he had to call off today. But the argument where me and him have been arguing, he argues the fact every corporate setting. I think you're going to back me up on this, Paul. At least in America, I'm not sure about UK, Greg. All the corporate settings, everybody has an iPhone.
Yeah, well,
so
yeah. I mean, he really struck gold with. I mean, with the iPhone, he really struck gold. And I remember, in fact, I was watching last week. There was a video where when he introduced the iPhone, and he went after the major players at the time. He went after what was the Palm Pilots, and he went after the Blackberries. You know, he went after all those guys, and he called out a lot of their weaknesses. Pretty upfront.
Because remember back in the day, BlackBerry was a majority holder of business phones at the time. So, and the argument me and David have, he goes, there are more Android phones in corporate America now than iPhones. Like, no, dude, it's 95% is, from what I have seen, 90. I won't say 95%. I mean 98 to 99% is iPhones out there.
Yeah. No,
and Wally actually agreed with me. Now, what? Okay, you're in a corporate setting. What do you see mostly iPhones? Let me ask you a question. Do your company give you phones first?
Some people get phones. I don't. But I know my daughter. Okay. She gets phone, and she got an iPhone. So it depends on especially if you travel or if you do a lot of correspondence when you need that. They'll give you one. But yeah, I agree with you that certainly, like I said, the iPhone market is big. But again, most of the laptops, for example, are Windows based. They're usually IBM.
Oh yeah, that I'm not gonna say they're
yeah, they're IBM and whatnot. So again, but the thing is, you have to have. I mean, again, there are some users that use Macs, and you still have to, if you're like a network engineer or you're a hardware administrator, you still have to make sure that they're compatible. Or that all these things work. The Mac should be able to get onto the network just as much as the Windows machines, and you have to kind of maintain two different environments still with the two systems. But it would have been almost impossible back in my day, back in the 90s, because again, Apple to get Windows and Apple to work together was very difficult because again, Steve Jobs, it was like an all or nothing approach.
Mm-hmm.
And so he wanted Apple, he wanted your whole campus to be Apple. That was the whole idea, the way the interfaces worked, the SCSI and the Apple Talk, which was like an early networking platform that was going on at the time. Again, it was his own environment. And that's what he was trying to create. He almost, I think he kind of liked being a bit of a niche product at that particular time, and he wasn't trying. And they also picked up a target. So again, like schools, universities, and schools, that if they were going to get penetration, that's what they wanted to focus on. They weren't even trying to get everybody, but again, young people, creatives, musicians, artists. Those were the people they were going after. They weren't necessarily trying to get into like the average blue collar American family or whatever. They weren't interested in that.
See, it's funny you said that, because one thing I realized about Mac at this moment right now, one, it's more common to have a Mac PC versus back in your day.
Mm-hmm.
Second, a lot of music people, I'm gonna say musicians, people who work with music will go over for a Mac over a PC any day of the week.
Right.
I know my buddy Frank, who's a DJ, and he has two Macs. One that he plays off his list, and then he has another one that he pulls off other programs. So it's easier for him to work like that. So when his Mac died recently, and I go to him like, dude, just get a fucking gaming PC, call it a day. He goes, I would never get a gaming PC because this is built so well. And once I saw what he was talking about, he is right. It's built extremely well. And the third is a lot of content creators like ourselves. I don't have a Mac. I have my big machine here, but a lot of them use a Mac over a Windows.
Well, yeah, because Macs are a lot better for software and everything. than Windows, and also cheaper. It's a lot more expensive on parts, but people do prefer Windows over Mac, because if you decide to go Mac and say like your RAM stick or your graphics card dies in your system, it's going to cost you about $1,000 on a Mac computer to get it repaired, and you have to physically send your machine off to them to get it repaired.
Yeah.
It's not always 100%. There are stores around here that fix it Macs now.
Yeah, you have to be
States.
Apple certified though. But with a Windows PC, which is what I prefer, you can physically go out and buy the graphics card, bring it and whack it straight in your computer, and off you go.
Yeah.
And you can't often change hardware with Apple or Windows. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was definitely prevalent in my time. I keep saying my time, but
you sound like our pay now.
I know, but it was true. You would go like every year. There would be computer shows and expos and whatnot, and you can go there. Like there's a Raritan Expo Center near me here. You know, big, huge place for indoor expos and whatnot. You go there to computer shows, and you can build a PC from scratch. You can get your tower or your cover. You can get your CPU. You can get your motherboard. You can get RAM. You can get video cards, sound cards, all of the and build your PC. In fact, I did that for a long time. I had a nice tower set. But the problem was, you thought as soon as you bought, it was like a car. They say as soon as you buy a car, as soon as you drive off the lot, it loses 30% of its value. That was the problem with PCs back then, because again, as soon as you bought it, a few months later, Intel or somebody was coming out with a faster chip or faster memory or something like that. So your system was basically obsolete the minute you built it. An Apple system, generally, you had a lot more room with that. I'm not saying they didn't come out with new ones, but it just seems like, you didn't have to worry about, okay, like I bought it and it's kind of complete. It's going to get me through. I mean, most of the Apple's Macs that I had for several years before I sort of bit the bullet and bought a new one. But it's like it was just that feeling that you had that, okay, as soon as I leave the Expo and build my tower up, next week they're coming out with another processor or something. So it was like a never ending battle, thinking you were trying to keep up with like the latest technology. You think you had the best system and whatnot, and then somebody always came out and beat you with something else. So just trying to stay up with the technology became not only expensive, but it just became tedious. And the other thing with Macs,
it seems like a Mac is a little cheaper to maintain versus something what I have. You know what I'm saying? A bit.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's well, at least back then, like I said, you never opened a Mac. You know what I mean? You never opened it. Except maybe there were some situations there were instances like, let's say if you want to upgrade your RAM, let's say from back then 4 megabytes to 8 megabytes of RAM back then. There were procedures where you can sort of crack it open and you can install RAM in, but it wasn't meant to be tampered with. Like Jobs didn't want you in there doing anything. It was a very safe environment. And the other thing about Macs was you didn't also worry about viruses. Getting hacked, going places. I mean, the ecosystem. I'm not saying that Macs can't get hacked, but I'm just saying it was harder for a time to put a virus on a Mac. But I guess some of these open architectures that were in the Windows world, and even other equivalents like Linux, for example, was very popular in the 90s and early 2000s. It was sort of like a free, shareable operating system where you had a lot of people. You would actually build multiple environments with on the same computer. So you can have a Windows environment and you can have a Linux environment all on the same, running off the same CPU. And so, but with all of that open shareable software, it left you open to hackers and other people. You never worried about that with a Mac. In fact, you remember, Pete, sometime back when you were, after 9/11, you had Congress was trying to, because once they put up the what do you call it, the Homeland Security and they were trying to monitor when they basically allowed agencies to monitor everyone's communications and track their movements and everything. Apple was brought to the carpet because they were basically saying, like, look, Apple's infrastructure was so tight, it was guarded. Like, and they were saying, well, you can't share content from someone's phone or someone's computer or whatever because of it was so closed off. Apple fought tooth and nail to defend that. So again, if you had a Mac, the idea is unless you did something very stupid, it was going to be very difficult to hack it. And that was another plus to the to owning it. But again, at the time, it costs a lot more. A Mac, you would spend usually 2 times as much for a Mac than you would a PC. Easy. The first Mac that I bought, that Mac SE, in college, cost me $1,900 in 1987 money. If you were to do just a look up, today's money.
$5,000.
What was 1987? What 1987 money, $1,900 look like in 2025 money? Yeah, you're right. It's like $5,000 for a college student, and I didn't really have a ton of money, but I invested. I wanted to get into it. So I would definitely say that one of the benefits of technology is that in terms of scale, it gets cheaper over time. I couldn't imagine. What you can get for $5,000 now for a computer. You can really get a pretty powerful system with that. But at the time, it was a big deal, and I remember being
£100.
Yeah, but I remember being one of the only guys on the floor that had a Mac. So it was kind of like, other guys would have to go to the lab and whatnot, and it was a pain because depending if it's the wintertime, if it's raining. Got an assignment to do a project, you got to go to the library to use a Mac, you got to go to the Hill Center a science building to use a Mac or whatever. I'm in my room just using a Mac. In fact, I made a decent amount of money because I was also a pretty good typist. I would make $15 an hour.
Good software and AI, music generated, video making, that's
exactly. Yeah,
there's a lot.
We weren't there yet. Again, I'm a little old, so
I know
we weren't to that level yet. But I remember even making money because again, the word processing software, autocorrect, and I remember Mac Write was like the main was the premier Apple software for word processing at the time. Again, autocorrect and all those features in there, fonts and the ability to have nice graphic fonts and all that stuff. So I got paid a lot of money. I made a lot of money on the side just typing papers. I at that time I could type 70 words a minute. And so I would, so guys would come to me, hey, I need a paper done or whatever. Hey, give me stuff. I'm in my room all man's of the night on the weekend. I didn't have to go anywhere. I just do it right in my room. It's like, boom, here it is. Here's a floppy. Here's your paper or whatever. And I would get paid, money for doing that. So yeah, at the time, it was, like I said, it was just very exciting to be able to create stuff. So, and I say all that because again, why I have a lot of those floppy disks left is because a lot of things that I created are on those disks, but I didn't move fast enough to convert that into a more standard format. What I should have did was when PDFs came out, I should have converted all those documents to PDF, and then I could have, it would have been, I could have had them into perpetuity, but I didn't do that. So a lot of stuff is there. And so I guess in my head, I always thought, well, maybe I may have to go to some place or whatever. You can take these old Apple discs. It's almost like when you used to take a VHS tape and you had to cook it up to have a DVD, recorded on DVD.
Or even going from DVD to digital.
Correct. So I'm thinking like maybe one day I may want to do that just to be able to preserve it, because that was also one of the reasons I kept a Mac, my old Mac. It's like 20 something years old. I kept it because I could still put a floppy disk in and I can bring it up and I can see it. But the problem is I can't move it anywhere because, like I said, back then you didn't have that portability to move stuff from one system to another, let alone to a PC. So I'm kind of in this stuck. I got a lot of old stuff, and you do have people who do try to preserve a lot of those old systems, those old Macs, those old PCs and whatnot. And so I'm thinking that maybe there might be an opportunity for me to like I said, preserve a lot of that stuff, put it into a format.
So
and
I'll
then
give you a little. If you look at Amazon, I know they have like floppy disk, this external drives that will work on modern PCs. So if you want to use that to convert everything, there you go.
Well, I have that. No, it's not an issue of the flop. I have floppy drives. I can hook up a floppy drive to my laptop here and put one of my Mac discs in it. The problem is the software to read it is not going to be there. You have to have
now you're talking about
the operating system
programming.
has to be able to recognize. It's like it's in old Apple format. It's like, what is this?
No,
The only thing that's going to show up is going to show up as an icon.
Oh, can't
That's
you
about it.
virtualize the operating system?
What's that?
And then do it that way. Can't you find the operating system you originally had that when you made the file and virtualize it on your machine, and then
you think he's going to remember that much?
Even then,
He's old,
again,
right?
then Apple did not support backward compatibility. So let's say if you use Mac OS 6, you move to 7, a lot of stuff, if you try to use your old hardware on 6, it wouldn't work on 7.
But you can get a hold of that image nowadays, can't you?
Like I said, it would be a work. I would have to find some people who specialize in video, like some sort of restoration, or again, have those resources in order to do that. If I wanted to, sort of convert some of that stuff over to a usable form. But like I said, back then, Apple, until Apple went to Windows processors, because remember, they were on Windows processors for years until they came back with those new chips, the M1, M2, and M3 chips that they work on now. But for years, almost like 20 years, they ran on Windows. They shared
chips.
What's that?
They went to the M series and silicone drivers.
Correct. But for years, like I said, because of that competition, they stayed again. They were Windows-based platforms, and so there was a lot more compatible. Now, again, these M chips, apparently now the mindset is be able to work with everybody. But like I said, if Steve Jobs was still in control or still alive, I don't know if he would have wanted that to happen. I don't think he would have allowed Win chips to be used.
So I think he had no choice, to be honest with you. It will be a kind of choice, not literally from a more like a theory. He put the gun next to his head, like you're going to do it, like it or not, because the government is cracking on them pretty well about this a closed garden of Apple. Like for example, I know you don't have an Apple Watch, right, Paul?
No.
But your daughter and wife has one, right? Your daughters and wives? Okay. So you know very well, I cannot take my Apple Watch, like myself, and put it on a Samsung.
Correct.
For example. That's a great wall. Now, I think it was like 2 years or 3 years. Is it ongoing progress right now? Is they do have a big lawsuit against them from the I know it's from the government. That's why I know. I don't remember where it's from, to be honest with you. They're calling it a monopoly because you cannot do different things with different systems, for example. So I think Steve Jobs, if he was still alive, he wouldn't have had a choice. He would have had to make changes to keep his company survivable and not, drop it. It was kind of like you have to adapt with the times. Now people are done with the Great Wall. They still love the Apple products. They work great. I have an Apple product. You have an Apple product. We both can agree they work great, right?
Right.
But
or he might have gave, you don't know, he might have gave up the division. That's it. I'm making money hand over fist with the IMAX and whatnot. He might have said, look, I'll just go with that. I mean, not every source company necessarily tries to maintain everything.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. Because they have mentioned it, the iPhones lose money every year dramatically when they build them. But they know that's the number one product right now. Yeah. If they get rid of it, they don't have a lot to work with after that. Yeah. So let's switch gears for a second. Cell phones. What was your first cell phone?
Mine might have been like a Nokia.
So
I think. And but I remember I had the Nokia. I had a Nextel. Remember the Nextel with the beep thing? It was almost like a walkie-talkie, whatever.
Two-way. It was called two-way.
Correct. So I had kind of both of those initially, and even the cell phone carrier. I don't think they're even around anymore, but I think there might have been like an AT&T based carrier. So yeah, I mean, it was, yeah.
So my first phone was a prepaid Nokia. We called it the brick back in the day. I don't know if you called it that too, because you can literally, I could throw it at Greg's big forehead and it wouldn't break. His head would be a different story, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. But it was survivable. But everybody used to love the man, what's called the Nextels back in the day. It was the trend. You know how iPhones are a trend now?
Yeah.
Nextels. The i95, i90 was the first one. That was a black and white one. Then the i95 that I showed a minute ago, that was the second trend. Like it was, people were going crazy for these phones.
Yeah.
But you know, the funny part, there was nothing special about them.
No, not at all. And I mean, the coolest phones I think at the time might have been the
hang on, Greg. Let's both finish
the Razor. I think when those Razor phones came out, I think those were
another one. Yeah. Greg, what were you going to say?
Does anyone remember those Ericsson T20 phones?
Yes, the Ericssons. Yeah, I think I had one of those too.
It's one with a little flip down front on it.
Exactly. Yes, I had one of those as well. Yep.
I don't remember that one for some reason. If I see, I probably know what you're talking about.
Type in Ericsson T20.
Yeah.
But then we went to, you know, from Nextels, the walkie-talkie was the coolest thing. Dude, I don't know about you, bro. In my, I was driving with loud music. Boom, 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 boom. Whoa, my phone went. Oh no! I think I used to hear it in my sleep. I think it was still going up, but it was never going off. I don't know if you ever were like that with your Nextel.
No, but I mean, after a while, the beep kind of got a little tedious after a while. Yeah, and certainly back then, the issue was, cell phone coverage. I don't think it was what it was back then either. So again, and where I used to work, it was like up in northern Jersey, and if you were on like Route 287 or something like that, like a lot of the, there were a lot of dead spots that you would drive through. Very few companies at the time really had Verizon for a long time was like, they were probably the most expensive plan, but if you wanted like reliable coverage almost anywhere, that was going to be your best bet to go with Verizon, but they charge you a lot of money for that.
It's still the most expensive, and it's still the most reliable right now.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it was like really apparent, like you be in some areas and you got no signal, because again, people didn't want cell phone towers in their neighborhoods and stuff. They were like, oh, they look ugly or whatnot. So again, that was always a problem, especially when you were living in a lot of these suburban, almost rural areas in New Jersey. South Jersey, especially, again, you had to be next to like a major city in order to get decent. If you wanted back then 3 bars or 4 bars back then, in order to get decent coverage. So it was that was. So I mean, that's something I'm happy about. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's certainly, you get a lot more coverage than you did back then. But there were times I'd be on the road, like having to go place for work or whatever, and I would just be in these dead spots and nobody could reach me until I got to a spot that had a reliable network. I would get messages like hours later sometimes because, people couldn't reach me. It was just, you were literally in a dead spot.
Yeah, because I remember with my Nextel, I can literally walk around a corner from my room and I'll lose service like that. Get it back.
Yeah.
Get my own house. Get that here right now.
Greg, you don't understand one major thing. Now we have Wi-Fi, so you can connect your phone to Wi-Fi, and you're good. You have connection.
We still have problems there. We still have problems there in this flat. For Wi-Fi in this flat where I'm living right now, I've had to buy a Wi-Fi mesh to run around the flat.
But that's the key thing. You can buy that. Back in the day, you couldn't even do that. You had no option, dude. You had an option, deal with it or deal with it. That's the only 2 options you have. And a lot of people, again, I think Paul is going to back me up on this. A lot of people used to buy Nextel because it was a cool phone. They didn't give a shit about the service sometimes. It was cool. Nobody used to text back then Because texts were like I think 5 cents per text and shit like that. And so nobody really did it. It didn't pick up to, I think, when the Blackberries came out and the iPhones, it started blowing up everywhere. And I remember I didn't remember. I was one of those guys. Oh man, that thing is I didn't want to give up my Nextel, but I knew Nextel was dying out because that was my roots to New York still. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when I got rid of it, the first phone I got was shit. It was an iPhone, believe it or not. First iPhone. Then I went to a few other ones. I ended up landing for a small period of time. And that was a shitty fucking phone. BlackBerry Storm 2. Do you remember that?
I the name. I've had, and then
it was literally the whole phone was a one big keyboard, right?
Yeah.
But it was an old touchscreen.
Yes, I remember.
So, and it was. Hang on, let me try to look it up. It was a shitty phone, dude. Here it is. Let me put my screen up really fast. It was, dude. When I said it was bad, it was bad. And this is one of the reasons why one of what's it called? BlackBerry never survived. So it wasn't a bad phone. It was just, it had bugs in it, the programming, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So design was beautiful phone at the time. Then I remember later on getting the Razer Max HD. That was one of my favorite phones to this day, to even now, because the battery lasted 72 hours full back then, bro.
Yeah.
Imagine now if that came out another one like that.
Yeah. But
so go ahead.
Can I switch gears a little bit? Because I know we're getting into a phone conversation that seems to be like the dominant technology that we all use today.
No, I was going to ask you a question as a tech guy in a minute, but you can go. You want to go your way, or you want to ask my question for you first?
Well, I would ask this. Outside, like, what was the first like major technology period that you remember, like growing up? Was it a phone or was it something else? Because for me, again, in the 70s, in the early 80s, there were a lot of things that I got exposed to that, again, at the time, like I said, it was cool. Like I was there, again, when you had, color television became dominant, not just that it was available. Color TV came out in the late 50s, but when color TV became ubiquitous, like when color TVs took over black and white. And a lot of people don't recall when most TVs, even through the 60s, a lot of television shows were in black and white. Or let's say when it came to tech, like portable tech, like the first digital watch. Like remember the Casio watches that would have the calculator on the watch?
I never had one, but I remember people having it.
You know what I'm saying? It's stuff like that. Or those handheld Mattel video games, football, baseball, basketball, those sort of things. So that's what I'm saying. That kind of tech, like what are some of the things outside of phones that when you first saw it, you were like, this is cool? Because it's like everything now is about cell phone technology, but what about other technologies that you might have been exposed to or that, you remember and just the impact of it? It could be toys, for example.
It's actually a combination of two things.
Yeah.
Mostly was video games, believe it or not. It was Nintendo, Game Boy, Game Gear, Sega. All those stuff was very fascinating to me. It was, how did they get all that? Like how did you get something this big up there through these cables? I was a kid. I didn't know anything better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I brought it very fascinating. Now, fast forward when I moved back from Greece to the States, because technology moved very slow back then in overseas. The first thing I remember thinking like, whoa, is DVR. It was TiVo back then. It was called, I think.
Yes.
And it was like an arm and a leg. And the second thing I saw was pretty cool was DVD player.
Yeah.
And my mom being my mom, you know how my mom is by now. Try to nickel dime everybody, at stores, because it says these guys make $1 million. We're poor. We need it more. and they by accident put the wrong price tag on a DVD player, a Sony DVD player.
Mhm.
And they were arguing with, saying, no, you got to pay. And I was going to pay it. My mom goes, no, no, no. It says $19.99, not $200 something dollars, whatever it was back then. We're paying $100 and that's it.
Mhm.
But ma'am, we put the wrong sticker back. But no, 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 no. That's not my problem. You can fire whoever you fucking want. This is what it says. This is what we're paying.
Mhm.
I was at PC Research and Son. I don't know if you remember that store.
Yes, for sure.
Are they even around anymore?
Yeah,
Actually,
there's one in East Brunswick. There's one in East Brunswick.
okay.
There's one in
So we end up walking around with a brand new when they first came out DVD player, and you remember they were like this fucking big at one point.
Yeah,
they were like VCR sizes, it was thinner.
right.
Walking out with a brand new one for $100.
Yeah,
so
because they got to honor the price that's on the sticker.
Yeah.
So yeah, you had to make sure that was good. But that's what I'm talking about. I mean, just the stuff that was. I mean, the idea of a remote control TV to be able to pause action and rewind it and play it. And it was funny at the time because back then it was like everybody went when you did the reverse button, everybody went in reverse and whatnot. Again, nobody was exposed to that before. You know what I mean? And so you were always in that sense of awe that where all this technology is going. Things got smaller, things got more powerful, and you just always thought that again you would definitely pro science, like what are they going to invent next, and you were just looking forward to it. And again, that's why I go back to those fairs, those expos. That's what all that was for.
It's funny
it was
you
to
mention
give you
because I remember I was hanging out with CQ when he was lived in PA, right? So, and he always had the coolest tech at the time, always. And so the first smart remote, remember those damn things?
Yeah.
And there was like this big, but it can control everything in your house. And I thought that was the coolest thing. I always wanted one, but I was not willing to drop what was it, $200-$300 on one controller.
Right.
It wasn't worth it for me. Now, if I had all the tech I had now, I'll probably drop it, to be honest with
you. Yeah, for sure. No, I'm sorry. Did you have a cool question you were going to ask?
Yeah, I was going to ask you a question because this is another argument me and David have all the time, and I was just going to get back into the phones for 1 second, and we're going to move out of there completely. And I want to get into the video game sector in a minute. So which one, as a unbiased, as a tech person, which one do you feel is more secure, a Android phone or a iPhone?
Again, I've never. Oh, so good, Craig. You can go. Go ahead.
No, he just asked. I was answering a question. You said Android or Apple, so I said iPhone. Simple. iPhone.
What? Oh, iPhone. Okay. Go. I want to Paul's professional opinion. I'm gonna tell you in a second why. Go ahead, Paul. What did you think?
I would probably, again, I haven't used an Android. The last non-Apple phone I had was a Google phone. So I had a Google Nexus phone, and that was that, and that was it. I never owned an Android phone. So
that was the worst phone too, by the way.
What's that?
Nexus were horrible phones. Yeah,
I mean, it was, but again, at the time, it was the thing is, it what it did was it definitely got me into the Google ecosystem. So like I said, my Gmail, a lot of my apps and whatnot. Again, it kind of got me into that world. I think I have Google Wi-Fi in the house and everything, so it got me into that environment. And so, when after that, I got an iPhone 6, and the sort of rest is history. The rest of is history after that. But I haven't used the Android platform enough. But again, it's like one of those things, people swear by it, and then some people have Apple. It's like Coke and Pepsi.
They've been having is he says Android has BlackBerry software in it and it's unhackable. I disagree with that. I think Apple is unhackable because the government has tried and they can't do it. Now they're able to because they got into trouble. But really fast before we my issue with phones right now, I remember we used to get all these accessories, and we don't have that anymore. I feel like we get less and less things in the phones when you get buy a new phone. You know what I'm saying?
I remember last phone I had, the old Nokia, actually had a camera attachment. You used to plug into the old Nokia. It looked like a piece of steak. You just plug it into the phone. It's like you take a photo, you want to upload your photo, bang, you got to plug your camera into the phone.
I remember that actually. They were building attachments. But really, let's switch gears for a second here. Let's talk about what was that? What I was going to look for? Video games. That hasn't evolved more than anything out there. You guys disagree or agree?
No, 100%. Yeah. But I got to tell you guys something though, and this is
He's coming out of the closet finally.
What's that?
I was joking. I said you coming out of the closet finally.
Craig, help me with this guy, please.
I'm not saying shit.
That's right. Yeah, leave me. Yeah, leave me with the lunatic here. I would say this for me when it comes to gaming. Again, I sort of jumped off of serious gaming probably by the late 90s, early 2000s. Most of the gaming that I do is very basic. And it's interesting for me because it doesn't matter how advanced the system is. The sense of whether you call it dopamine or endorphins or whatever, it's all the same. Like if I went and got one of those Mattel pocket games or an early Game Boy or something like that, I would still have probably just as much fun with it now as a game that has like on one of the the Nintendo Links or whatever the high end so I would probably have just as much fun then. In fact, it would probably be more so because it's simple. Like now these games are so complex in terms of the controls. Like if you play a football game, you have so much control over throwing the pass and catching the pass and just all these extras. Like I remember the first football game I really got into was like Tecmo Bowl. That was like a big thing back in the 80s on the Nintendo platform. Tecmo Bowl 2.
Nintendo, American football on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
That's the only sport game that I ever played.
Right. But now it's like you have so much control over everything. It's just like I just like to shoot things. I like to get the high score and I like to get the heck out. I don't want to be playing a game. Now, again, there have been storyline games where, again, you go through stages and you get to the end and you beat the last boss and you win the game. That I get. But some of these games, you're playing for like a week for a campaign. Probably one of the worst things that probably happen to gaming is the ability to save where you're at and pick up where you left off. To me, that's the worst because, again, when you talk about skill ups, because you can have an infinite amount of deaths and never get past, until you get past the level. Back then, you had the coin in video games you had to play. And if you want to keep playing, you either had to get very good or you're going to spend a lot of money.
So here's where I agree and disagree at the same time. All right. I agree some games are so over-teched. I always say it like that. It has so much tech into it or so much, different programming. It's confusing as fuck to play it. But if you play a basic story mode game, like I don't do online too much, to be honest with you, because I don't like people are assholes online. And Greg is going to back me up on that because I know he's an online gamer and they're assholes. I don't like playing with assholes. I prefer playing with my buddies once in a while, and we don't really do that as much because everybody's busy in their lives. The story modes I play is like Spider-Man. You're swinging around New York. Very simple. R1, R2, X triangle is very basic movements. You know what I'm saying? Assassin's Creed, very basic stuff again.
Yeah.
I don't go to this high-tech Fortnite. You have to have 100 different buttons to stuff like that. Like, fuck
Worst
that.
game ever.
Yeah.
Worst game ever.
Now, what do you guys think about just go on the same track you're going on? What about controllers? Again, I go back to the era where you had the joystick and the one button, the fire button. That was it. Then you got your 4 directional buttons. Then you got A, B, C, D, and F. And you got, you had So you had to work the controller, one set of controls on one side with the direction, then the other side with the buttons on this side. It got to a point where you had 8, 8 buttons, and then you had the triggers on the 2 sets of triggers in the front. You had the trigger on the bottom. It's you're like this. It's like all these things are going on at one time.
Again, that's why I play basic games.
Yeah.
And like now, the new controllers, you can actually map out your controller the way you want it. You could put the X here, the triangle there, or A or B there. The controllers are fucking expensive now these days too. If you get a custom built controller, you're looking at $150 on the low side. A custom built controller. I'm like, fuck that. I don't need no custom. Listen, a $50, $60 controller does the job very well. Actually, I don't need anything fancy like that. If you're not a professional gamer who does this for a living, I don't see the reason you're paying $150 for a controller. I really don't.
Yeah.
So
but that's the thing too. I mean, we talk about again where the state is, and again, it's when again, I go back to Wolfenstein 3D was like a revolutionary. It brought you like the first 3D gaming action, 360-degree angles and whatnot. Then a couple years later, they came out with Doom. And that was like a revolutionary thing. Then you had like then you had Halo and all. I mean,
I prefer Tomb Raider personally.
Was that?
I prefer Tomb Raider.
Tomb Raider, yeah. But I'm just saying, but these immersive 360-degree games, again, visually stunning. But again, it's like tech is supposed to kind of help you, but it's like almost at that point it kind of traps you. Like, again, you would play video games for maybe, again, your buddies are over for a couple hours, you play, and then you go outside. You play football or baseball or whatever, or you got together later. But the idea is like when you spend half your day playing games, it's to me. So again, that's kind of the downside of tech. Like, is it helping you be better? Yes, entertainment. We all need a break. We all need a release. We all need to let off some steam and relax. And even when I'm at work, like if I'm working on something for a while and I get either to a point I need a break or whatever, I may just whip out my phone and play a shoot 'em up game for like 15 minutes just to take my brain off of whatever it is that I'm doing, just to beat the monotony of the tasks that I'm doing, which at work is oftentimes pretty boring. You're running.
It's funny you say that, Paul, because every game you mentioned so far are not very high tech games you're talking about. Like if you're talking about like Cyberpunk, for example, yes, the game had bugs when it first came out. I'll give them that, but it is actually a very advanced game. I would never recommend I would recommend Call of Duty or Halo off the bat easily because it's a very basic game. Here's your trigger. Here's your crouch. Here's your throw your grenades, and that's it. Nothing major crazy to worry about. You know what I'm saying? But if you could talk about something very advanced, I would never recommend like a Cyberpunk. Another good game is a slash 'em up, God of War. A very simple game. Here's your throw button. Here's your slash button. Here's your crouch. Here's your run. That's it. Nothing more. Nothing less.
Right.
Very basic. Like what I did.
What's up, man?
You don't want to go high tech like what I did. You've said,
what'd you do?
Yeah. My little setup that I've got in the bedroom.
See, that's over to do it. I had a shoe set of mine. He was doing what's called VR racing. He was sponsored to do VR racing, and he had a similar setup. And he will literally build his computer. He sits behind the wheel, and he was racing like it was a real race car. And he would get points in everything like it was a real race car.
Well, yeah, because you get paid for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But with me,
Now
I just
we're going.
that's just my fucking setup that you saw.
You go into the deep end of the water, and you can't get out of it at that point. Once you get into that far in, that's it. You're done. And I agree with you, Paul. Some games are too much.
Yeah, it just totally. All of us have 24 hours, but imagine spending up to a third of your day playing games.
I'll give you an example, Paul.
That's insane.
They're Survivor
Craig,
games.
that's insane.
Now, I'll give you an example, Paul. Survivor games. Like The Last of Us. Not Last of Us.
Assassin's Creed's a survival game, isn't it?
No, it's not actually. They
Green
tried.
Hell. That's survival.
What was it called? All of Us. That's what the game is. All of Us. That was a open world survivor game. All right. It was a apocalypse, zombie attack, all that nine shit. That game had over, I think it was 195 hours into it. You had to play to beat the story mode alone because you have to do all the side quests. To me, that's too much. To be honest with you, I'm a gamer. Give me point A to point B. I'm good. If I have time, I'll do some side quests to rank up some weapons. That's it. Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
The old school Mario games, those what I like. The old school Zelda games, I like. And this one you might like. You might remember this. Maybe not because I think this is a little bit after your time. Smash Brothers. I love Smash Brothers. It was basic game, basic controller. I know the PlayStation, Nintendo controller was kind of weird shape, but it was you pick your character, anybody from the Nintendo family you can pick, from Link to Mario, whoever, Metroid, whatever. And let's say I was playing with Greg, for example. I think it was up to 4 players you had to be. If it's only 2, other 2 would be AI, obviously, the computer. And you battle each other. Simple. Simple movements, slash, blast, simple. It depends on your character, of course. And is a battle of the best, who's the best Nintendo character. That's what it was. Yeah. And simple. Nothing crazy.
Right. Can I move to another? Did you have another block?
No, go ahead. This is all. Is a hangout.
All right, so again, we're talking about tech or inventions, right? Can you name 3 things, 3 inventions, 3 things that you use on a regular basis that you almost think to this point is like indispensable? It might not have been around when you were growing up, but as an adult, they're indispensable. So let's take it outside of gaming or whatever, because again, we're talking about entertainment. I'm talking about useful things where tech really helps you on a day-to-day basis that without it, you really may be, your lifestyle would be compromised without it.
Oh, I can tell you right now, is my watch, my Apple Watch is number 1. I don't leave home without it. Like all my Express commercials.
Okay, I'm gonna cheat. So I'm gonna cheat you. I'm gonna make this harder on you.
Oh,
take any Apple, anything having to do with well, actually, I can't do that either. You may give me it. Okay, I'll let you keep it.
I'll give you. You know what?
I'm trying to be a bit more practical here, but go ahead.
I'll raise you. I'll give you 5 inventions that everyday use. My Apple Watch, my AirPods, my phone, my remote start through my phone, meaning I can start my phone anywhere in the world through my phone. You know how many times? Because from my kitchen to the park is almost 1.5 miles to get there. So I literally start the phone. I literally, Face ID, whatever. And by the time I get to my car is nice and warm. I love that part of my car. It's the greatest thing. And as much, I have a little bitch argue all the time. Alexa is one of my favorite things I have around the house.
I'm not quite sure how to help you.
Are you fucking kidding me? Shut up over there.
You said
this is your fault. So me and her have a love-hate relationship. Because half the time she doesn't understand what I'm saying. Maybe because the way I say it, whatever. But anyway, it just walking in and saying, her name and the command, it helps out from every day for me. That
Correct.
is that. And with my apartment, I don't have light fixtures on the wall, so turn the switch. They're all only lamps all over my apartment.
Gotcha.
So that to me is a benefit.
Okay.
And I'll even up one more for you. My door camera is a lifesaver for me. Know who the hell's at my door all the time.
Okay. All right. So it's all your stuff is mostly computer related.
Correct.
Okay. Craig, what about you?
Very similar.
Daily basis.
I've only got 3
Go ahead.
computer based. My doorbell camera, My phone and my PC. That's all I've got.
So it's computers. Like, all right. So guys, where I'm going with this, because again, I wanted to. You
Sorry,
said
but I
technology.
use my
You
computer
said
daily.
technology. So I'm trying to broaden our horizon a little bit. Okay. So my top 3 that again I use almost on a daily basis. That again would make things difficult. One is GPS. I commute in the morning, and I have to know what the traffic patterns are. I gotta know what what routes to take, because I could be sitting in traffic for 2 hours if I take if I just go on what I know to do, accidents, constructions, whatever. GPS. Now again, imagine back in the day when you had to use road maps, like literally the folding thing in C7, C6, and you had to plant things out. To me, that's a game changer of epic proportions. That has saved me so much headache. Imagine having to go from here to Maryland. So, Pete, I know you go down and see CQ and those guys in Maryland. Imagine if you had to meet them somewhere or whatever, or that first time when you had to sketch everything out on the MapQuest or
It's funny you say that because when I was younger, I admit it, I'm horrible with directions. GPS have saved my life. And
that's what I'm
definitely
saying.
Google Maps.
That's what I mean. That's useful.
Yeah.
That's productive when you know when you're going. Even in a major city, you can get lost. Oh, people, you say, oh yeah, go down 3 blocks, make a left, make a right, whatever. You'd be like, huh? And you lost it already unless you wrote everything down. But on a practical basis, something that really helps me out. When we went to dinner last night, the pictures that I showed on my wife at the waterfront overlooking New York City at the Hudson River. GPS, because I know we were close, but I would have been driving. I didn't know where I was because I don't go to Jersey City that often. So just to find that venue is revolutionary. But let's take it out of the tech space. My George Foreman grill. On a daily, you want to talk on a daily basis, that thing has saved me so many hours. Talk to anybody in the fitness industry, talk to bodybuilders, talk to people who are like, when it comes to food prep, you don't want to deal with a lot of grease. You don't want to do a lot of frying or baking or whatever. And I know you're a chef and I don't know what your views on something like, but that was a game changer for a lot of people. There, you know how many George Foreman grills have been sold or similar products over the years?
Oh, I don't have a George Foreman. I have a Ninja indoor grill.
But I'm just saying, when that came out, and the crazy thing about it, I forget the story. Someone else could have had it. I think it was, I don't know if it was Hulk Hogan or somebody.
It was Hogan.
Hogan had an opportunity, but they gave it to George Foreman, and he made tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars off that thing. But it was a game changer in terms of food prep. I was like, I can't live without my George Foreman. I mean, at nighttime, make me a steak, and again, you want to drain the excess fat off of it. Yeah. And then looking in the food now, what's kind of replaced the George Foreman? That's really that I use it every day. And again, it's to the point now I couldn't imagine life without it. If it broke, I would go out tomorrow and get another one. Is my air fryer. I mean, that is like such a practical. I mean, making bacon in an air fryer is life. Heating up foods and rewarming instead of I'm less and less. I'm using my microwave. In the 70s and in the 80s, the microwave was like the great kitchen tool or whatever. But then stuff started coming out. It's like, hey, you know how if you microwave something, it may come out hot and then it turns to dough. If you try to heat up bread, it gets hard. And microwave isn't good for everything. And so, but when the air fryer came out, I seldom use my microwave anymore to warm up anything, any foods. If I have to warm something up from the restaurant last night that we went to, unless it's pasta or something like that, I use the air fryer. And again, those things really became popular maybe about 10 years ago. That's what I'm talking about. The sort of technologies that you use every day. Even the
back in the day, you used to have the coffee maker, right? The Mr. Coffee maker where you put the
Yeah, my
coffee grounds
K
into
cup.
the thing,
Yeah.
whatever, and it percolated, or you had the old pot with the percolator at the top, and you knew the coffee was brewing because it came up through the percolator at the top. But then they came out with the cups, the K cups.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. If I had my K cups, it would be a life changer for me right now.
That's what I'm
I would
saying.
never
So
tell what you
I'm
guys
saying
want
think
to
about, because all you and Craig, you guys are so computers, and I'm not saying these things don't work off of computers or some sort of tech.
Paul, you're talking to a guy who doesn't go out. I spend 24 hours a day in this flat. No joke. Yeah, I currently use my PC for my TV 24/7. I do not have a satellite dish. I don't have a TV antenna. I have nothing. My internet is what I use 24/7.
Wow.
I'll be honest with you, Paul. My except my coffee maker, my second thing I probably would not like to go back to the old school way is my portable Ninja blender.
Yeah.
It's $50. You know, it's a little portable. You put your powder in, your milk or whatever, and you hit the button and you walk as it blends. But
Yeah, that's the
shaking
thing.
like this is like you can't break the protein as well now.
Yeah.
Don't use any of it.
I bought about, it's almost 6 months now. I bought a Vitamix, like an old school, a Vitamix 5200 used. I bought off of Amazon. I mean, Facebook Marketplace. $150. A new one's like $400, and it's the best blender I ever used, hands down. I mean, I had a Ninja. In fact, my wife still uses it to an extent, but once I went to Vitamix, I never went back. If you want to talk about, like, especially like you're doing smoothies, raspberries or whatnot, if you want those seeds crushed, it's nothing beats a Vitamix machine. And I was contemplating, do I want to spend $300-$400 on a Vitamix? And when I saw the one that was there, and those machines last forever, you got Vitamixes that are 20-25 years old and people still use them. They're, for the most part, they're made. I think they're still made in America for the most part, if not made or assembled in America. You know, but again, that is like one of those. But I remember people got machines from the 70s and still work. It's like those Kirby vacuum cleaners from back in the day. I mean, just those kind of high quality type of machines that they really haven't changed the whole. I mean, they make them now with all the digital buttons and stuff on it now. But if you just want simple, you know, those things, you can make soups in them now. You can do all this kind of stuff. But for a smoothie, it's like it comes out. It's velvety smooth. If I use my
Ninja,
I like
the blender so much.
I'd say if I use the Ninja, it's like you can still, you know, the grit or the seeds or whatever. This thing, it's like velvet. It's like
the portable one is actually pretty good, bro. Believe it or not.
Yeah. No, I'm just agreeing. I'm saying compared to what I used.
No, yeah.
I haven't used what you used. I'm saying when I bought that used,
yeah,
I'm like, this is and it's loud as anything. It's very loud, you know, but it's from a quality perspective, yeah, it's like I have a protein smoothie every day. And since I got it,
machine, I would say tech is not computer that I don't have, but I know it will make a life changer. And I haven't dropped the money because I live in an apartment, and I don't think I need two of those suckers to make it work for the upstairs and downstairs. A Roomba, that would be a life changer. So I don't have to worry about fucking vacuuming anything.
Right.
I leave the doors open before I go to work. I hit the button or through my phone or whatever. Let this do its thing. Time I get back. My dog might be chasing the damn thing around the house, but that's a whole different story. But I think that would make a life changer, to be honest with
you. Yeah. So you would add in, but right now, if you took it out of the computer space, you would say that your blender, but blenders have been around forever. I guess I was talking about something
blender,
like
I said. My portable blender.
Got it. So you got that, and you got your coffee maker. What do you have? You have a Keurig, or what do you
Keurig. Yeah. That is like literally the best thing I ever had because I don't have to make a whole pot every time.
Correct. I mean, right. You had that pot of coffee, and it'd be sitting on that warmer all day. By the time you came at 4 hours later, it's like you got to be desperate. Right. You got to be desperate to have a pot of coffee from there. But I remember
funny you said that because when I first got the machine, because my coffee maker finally died, I don't remember how he died. It's just fine. It was a Mr. Coffee, nothing crazy. Like they were
Yeah.
like what, $20-$30 back in the day. I think they were.
Now, Mr. Coffee, they were pretty up there. Mr. Coffee, again, they had the market for years. And that's another thing about technology, how think about the companies that owned this. Think like Kodak, right? Kodak cameras growing up, that they were like, up here. Minolta, all these where are all these camera brands now? Where's Minolta? Nikon, all of these companies that had like a market, like Mr. Coffee was like their premier coffee maker back then. And how Keurig came in and Mr. Coffee, I don't know if they ever came up with their own K-cup or whatever, but they just didn't change with the times.
And they got taken out. Sorry.
No, it's I'm saying Mr. Coffee, it was like it was a coffee maker. So you would take your coffee grounds, you would pour it into a cup.
Mr. Coffee does have a 4-in-1.
But again, I'm saying they were number in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s into the 90s. If you owned a Mr. Coffee, that was like the premier until Keurig started coming out with their coffee makers. But when they came out with the K-cup, changed everything. And then even Starbucks, you can get Starbucks coffee through the K-cups now and have your Starbucks in the morning.
Yeah. So our first coffee maker, we had it for years. I mean, like at least 30 years we had it. And if I'm not mistaken, I think my mom her hand, because my mom doesn't have good grip in her hand, and slipped in her hand and the pot broke. And she would look for a replacement. It was she couldn't find it. So we bought a new one.
Yeah.
Eventually that died. And we got another one. And it got to the point like I was tired of making pots of coffee and wasting it, to be honest with you.
Right.
So I went out and bought it. She looked at me like, what the fuck is this shit? You know my mom, dude. Trust me, you know how she is. She cursed me up a brand new storm. And I know, Mom, if I have them both of them down, she will not use it. So I took it and I hid it. So a few weeks later, I go, Ma, you know what? I'm going to bring the old coffee maker. Like, for what? You can keep that shit upstairs. This fucking thing is awesome. I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me now. Now, if you bring it up to her any shape, way, or form, she's going to, say, I will not go back to it. No way. I even got those refillable cups. You open the cap, you put the grounds and close it. Nope. She says it tastes like shit. All right. Eric's talking shit again. All right. K-cups suck. They're anti-vapor of death bears ass.
No, anal.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Where the fuck did you come up with this, dude?
I just prefer the old Nescafe. Got it? You buy it already grounded.
Nescafe, yeah. Nescafe,
right?
yeah.
Nescafe original. No gold blend. None of that other bullshit. It's just Nescafe original, straightforward. Stick it in a flame. It's a teaspoon in the cup. 2 sugars, hot water, bit of milk. Bang! It's a cup of coffee. Done.
You know what? It's funny you say that. I remember I haven't at the time. I was living up here, so 7-Elevens are not common up here. It's one of our stores around here, Greg. All right. And I walked into a 7-Eleven after like, I think it was 15 years. I saw all these flavors, fucking vanilla, fucking chocolate, hazelnut, this. I'm like, what the fuck happened to old school? Just black, straight American motherfucking coffee.
Oh, we have Costco.
And when I asked a kid in a counter, this little punk ass kid, his ass is hanging out of his pants. He has a fucking nose ring. I'm like, I can rip his fucking face off. I go, dude, where's a regular what's regular coffee? And I'm like, American black coffee. I got California blend. I mean, Colombia blend. No, I just want a regular American black fucking coffee. How hard is that?
Americano over here.
Don't you start it over there?
No. They've got literally multiple things over it. I've walked into, I think it's Costco or whatever bloody place over here. It's a coffee shop over here. I said, I just want a straightforward coffee. No foam, no bollocks. I just want a straightforward coffee. Like, oh, you want Americano? I'm like, what the fuck is that? It's just coffee, milk, sugar, hot water, bang. That's all I want. I was like, but do you want it to be frothed up? Like, no, I don't want any of that bollocks. Do you know what I mean? I just want
everything went Yeah, you used to have you had regular and you had decaf. Now you got 20. You almost hate Starbucks for this, but they're the ones who came out with all these. You want a tall blonde. You want a all these exotic beans from. You had it was Colombian coffee. Then you had all these different uh beans from all over the world. Dark roast, light roast, medium roast, black. I mean,
don't get me started with that, because I went in there my first time ever stepping in there was in New York. I asked for a large black coffee.
Mhm.
And they came in this fancy name, what what a large is, whatever it's called.
Mhm.
I looked at them like, just a black large coffee.
Now,
So
from what
that
I
is
understand, Pete, Greeks, like if you go to like a Greek restaurant or a breakfast shop or whatever, they do a decent cup of coffee, from what I understand.
Yeah, no. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm not saying the name of large versus whatever Starbucks calls it. They have a
Right.
different name for large.
Right. But what I'm saying is, yeah, they'll call it like a tall or a grande or something like that. But what I'm saying is, the type of coffee that Craig is talking about, if you went to like, again, a Greek store or restaurant or like a place that serves breakfast, that coffee, what from what I understand, is pretty good. It's what you would want. Simple. I don't know if there's if Greeks grow coffee or if there's like a
We
specific
do.
brand. Yeah, right. So
So let me break it down really fast with the Greeks. Okay, with coffee. Greeks will consume about 95% coffee in a week. They're addicted to it.
Right.
Second thing they're addicted to is cigarettes. So that's why coffee shops are all over the place in New York. I mean, in Greece.
Right.
You know how here bars are everywhere?
Yeah.
Coffee shops are everywhere in there.
Right.
All right. So the three types of
But
coffee.
do they do all the blends and all that kind of stuff at different, it's
They
just
keep it simple. They have 4 kinds. All right.
right.
Traditional Greek coffee that comes in a shot glass, or you can get it in a large glass now too, if you want a double. American coffee, obviously we know that already. Very simple. A frappe is made from Nescafe. You take it, you just beat it in a shaker, and it's iced coffee. We make it. Or a Nescafe espresso flow. Pretty much you make the iced coffee with little fluff on top with little milk. That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's it. Nothing expensive.
Right. So a simple cup of coffee. If I went into a shop with you and said I just wanted just a cup of coffee, I would just ask for Americano.
No, you're never gonna ask Americano. You're gonna ask for a large black coffee.
Okay. But that's the simple, But I probably want cream and sugar and all that. But
yeah, if you want, for example, if you want, like I would recommend a frappe. That's one of my favorite iced coffees, frappe. Okay, and I'll look at you, Paul. How do you like your coffee? How do you drink your coffee?
Heavy cream and well, Splenda. I use Splenda. I don't use sugar, but Splenda. 3 Splenda and 3 creams.
Okay, so you won't get Splenda in Greek shops in Greece. I'll be honest with you. You're getting white sugar. It doesn't exist in Greece. All right.
Okay.
So you get that out of the door right now.
Right.
So you're gonna get a frappe glycomegala, meaning iced coffee, a Greek iced coffee, light and sweet. That's all it is. You're doing
light and sweet. Okay.
Simple, and it's simple. Some people use the American way of that coffee. Some people use what is that word I'm looking at? Creamer in America. Traditionally, I always use cream.
Use milk,
regular milk, a splash. You don't need a lot.
Not even heavy cream and half and half. They don't do heavy.
Now really is already now it's becoming a thing in Greece, but it's never been a thing before.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's a rare. It's rare to say, oh, you want cream or milk. The only thing, they might ask you what kind of brand of milk you want. Do you want curded milk or canned milk? Because it comes in a little can. It's called Nunu, and that's the only difference. They usually give that for infants more because it's more it's more purified, if that makes sense.
Right.
I haven't got a clue.
Right.
What's up, man?
I haven't got a clue.
I'm surprised you guys don't have it up there, like canned milk versus curded milk. Do you even drink milk?
Wait a minute, I'll be right back, all right? I'll show you what we've got.
Yeah, boy.
Okay. All right. So I wanted to kind of explore that a little bit. Like I said, day to day, things that you take advantage of. Like I said, for me, I think GPS is like probably on a daily basis, at least a couple times a day. Anytime I get into my car, I'm essentially using GPS. Unless I know where I'm going, like a place like 5-10 minutes away or whatever, I'm using GPS more times than not. Certain place I remember you used to, he's got something up there now. What is that, Craig?
Hold on. Sorry, you were talking. That's why I didn't want to interrupt.
No problem. Savers, what's that? That's milk?
That's milk.
Yeah, we use that. We got a brand here called
This
Parmalat.
one, hang on.
Parmalat
yeah.
milk. I'll use that.
Watered down milk, as I call it.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Watered
have
down.
a similar
And you've got
product.
this
It's
one.
not. It doesn't have the taste. Like I don't like condensed milk. The taste of it, like the carnation, condensed milk. I seldom have that. That's a 2. Is that a 2% or a skim? Correct.
Semi-skim.
Skim milk.
I
Yeah.
have no idea what you're on about 2%. All I know is it's just semi-skimmed.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And
so
it's got
yeah.
whole
Another thing with cultures in different countries, like in Greece, you're not gonna have skim milk or 2%. You're getting milk. That's it.
Yeah, whole milk. Yeah, whole milk.
Mm.
Well, I think people, certainly concerned about if they don't want the excess fat or the lactose that's in the whole milk, because again, some people can't drink, milk or have lactose intolerance. So that's something I'm sure you deal with even with your cooking. You have to be mindful of people who have lactose issues when it comes to certain products.
So let's say we have mac and cheese on the menu, right? So if they're lactose, we have what's called a main meal or a secondary meal. So they will get the secondary meal.
Mhm.
So if they're lactose, simple as that. You know what I'm saying? Like say cheeseburgers.
That costs more,
obviously
though.
What's up, dude?
I bet that costs more, though. A lactose-free meal.
It is a lot more expensive, but
Yeah.
it really is not recommended to make mac and cheese out of lactose milk. It just it will break on you. I'm
actually lactose intolerant. Yeah,
Mm.
but I still have to eat stuff with gluten, everything in it.
Right.
Yeah,
Because I
so
can't afford
with-
to buy that sort of stuff. So
when
I
it comes to the
throw up
lactose milk,
I've got a problem.
when you're making like cheese sauces or anything kind of sauce with lactose milk, it's going to break on you. Now,
Yeah.
if it's going to break, is when it's going to break the sauce.
Right.
So it's not recommended. So we don't even bother most of the times. We just let the people know, listen, this is lactose, like the cafeteria, for example. This is, we put signs up like today's meal is mac and cheese, lactose warning kind of thing.
Mhm.
Or, today's meal has gluten in it, gluten warning, you know what I'm saying? A
Yeah.
seafood warning and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
the other day, we were cooking and I made blackfin fish, and my boss goes, we were talking. He goes, we have to start breaking down the fryers. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, oh, the vegans are complaining you're cooking the fryer chicken with the fries. I'm like, shit, he'll fucking go with this shit again.
Mhm.
All right, no problem. At 300, over 600 degrees with oil is going to kill anything there. I don't care what you put in there. It's going to kill it.
Yeah.
But you know how people are so oversensitive these days. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So the conversation came to fish, and I realized I put fish on the grill, and I wasn't thinking. I'm like, all right, I got to go clean the grill now because of seafood allergies. So you can't contaminate that stuff. They're very, very sensitive stuff. So
Yeah.
the 9 major allergies that are no joke, bro. Gluten is up there, and dairy. I remember back in the day, gluten and dairy was not even a fucking allergy.
Mhm.
It became an allergy the last 20 years, if that.
Yeah.
Remember early 90s? Was that even a thing?
Yeah. Well, you talk about see that now that's you can say that's bad technology there because again we moved away from a lot of things. People use lard, butter, sugar, but then we went to high fructose corn syrup, different preservatives. Again, these are all technical advancements, but I don't think it helped humanity a whole lot because yes, it may help preserve the life of foods. You can make things cheaper using chemical based additives and whatnot. But I don't think things are better. So that's to me that's an example where technology is kind of like, yeah, I mean it's cool and everything that you can, but again, even to taste the soda when Coke used to use cane sugar. People said it was a lot better than they went. Remember in the 80s they had New Coke, and they had classic Coke, and then they went back to the regular Coke. But again, they're still using, for the most part, unless you want Coke with cane sugar, you have to ask for that, or to certain places, there's certain countries that don't sell like the American Coke. You know what I mean? It's you have to people want real sugar and whatnot, and they make it and bottle it over there with those simple formulations. But here, I mean, it's a bunch of stuff that is different. So that's an example to me of where technology doesn't necessarily help us, or at least certainly when it comes to our health. I'm not sure if it's helping us in that regard.
No, I don't think so. I think it's hurting us big time. Because I give you a good example. Eggs are not technically not supposed to be refrigerated. They're supposed to be left out. We're the only country that refrigerates eggs. You know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, if you go to a farmer's market in Greece, I'm not sure about you, Greg, at UK. The eggs are out and open in the middle of the sun. And
No, they're usually in hatcheries.
What's up? You guys speak up a little.
They're usually in hatcheries.
I barely can hear you, dude. Speak up a little bit.
They're usually in little chicken house things, chicken coops.
That's my point.
No, I'm saying, but when you buy eggs, how do you store them? When you buy eggs in your house?
In the fridge.
Yeah. So I guess that's two countries. So,
yeah.
So
but Americans started that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
With a lot of things we put in the fridge, we don't technically refrigerate it. Zucchini, great example. That doesn't need to be refrigerated. I see people do it all the time. Onions, another one.
I'll stick a loaf of bread in the fridge.
Onions, yeah. I freeze. Like I'll cut them up and then I'll freeze them, and then when I want to use them for something, because again, I hate cutting onions, so I'd rather cut them up and whatnot. You know, my eyes get all burning and everything, so I cut them up. The ones I don't use, I freeze. So then if I need some, I just take them out.
So that's a good and bad thing. A good because you don't want to do onions. The trick to that, now you have eyes water, chew gum when you do that.
Chew gum? Okay.
Yeah, it's an old school trick. Trust me. People
right,
I've heard that before. So when you freeze fresh vegetables, you actually losing about 30% of the nutrition out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it literally because it gets the ice builds up over it and everything.
Right.
When you defrost it, it literally you sweat it away pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
So you're losing 30% of your nutrition. So it's a waste of time you're doing that. So what I would recommend: pop a piece of gum in your mouth, sugar free, because I know how much health freak you are. And you'll be fine.
Okay, I'll try the hack.
Yeah,
I'll be. We're making Thanksgiving dinner, so I'll be cutting up a lot of onions and peppers and stuff like that. So I'll be using that.
But another piece of technology that we take advantage for, at least in this country, is Bluetooth. That came in a lot of handy too. And that is one of the best things I use. I'm in meetings when I'm leaving work. I'm on phone, whatever, with you guys and everybody, right?
Yeah.
When we're in meetings all the time, like how many times I'm calling you? You're in a meeting about a show after we leave, So, I by the time I get home, it's like you might be busy working out, but I call you as I'm driving. I can catch you right there in a moment.
Well, right. Well, specifically Bluetooth in the car. You know what I mean? Like when you're. Because you don't have to worry about headphones or anything like that. You got the whole car with the surround sound and whatnot in the car, and you can keep your eyes on the road or whatever. You don't have to be fiddling with anything. So I think that's handy. Also, the reverse camera.
That's another one.
So that's something that's nice, especially if you're fearful like parallel parking or whatnot. That's always something, especially for young people. Something it takes some time to master. Parallel parking and whatnot. It's good to have those additional features there. I think those are useful. I think those are useful tools. But I would probably also say, especially when it comes to travel, I think that's where technology really is helpful. I mean, all the traveling I did over the summer, being able to go on an app, book my flight, book my hotel, book my rental car, and have alerts come into my phone in terms of, okay, where it is, flight is delayed or whatever, or just always being able to keep track of stuff. That's a game changer for me in terms of, and I can imagine for people who do a lot of business travel to be able to have those. Think about it. 20, 30 years ago, you had to book through like an agent or something. You had to call the airline and try to book something, or you went to the gate and try to book a flight there or something. but you could do everything now on your phone with like 2 or 3 apps: your hotel, your rental, and your and the airline, and it's done. I mean, I think that is, that is brilliant in terms of helping you be able to move through through things. Check in, right? When you can go in, I have my flight ticket there. When I go to the airport, in fact, I got the TSA special access. It's like a faster lines. I go in there, the barcode's there, boom, TSA line. You get into the shorter TSA line. When boarding the flight, you don't have to worry about, oh, did you lose your ticket or something like that, or something got smudged. You bring the ticket up on your phone, you press it down, boom, approved, kind of go in. I mean, those are great advances that make travel a lot easier. Going to the airport, getting your car, you show your you have all your credentials there and whatnot, and they get you out of there pretty quickly. So I would say that's another one that I really certainly and as like I said, this first time I traveled in decades, really, like 30 years since I did that kind of business travel, and just having all those tools at my disposal was brilliant. The only thing I wish they would go to with the tech is if they can ever get it to where you can get your license on your phone. You know what I'm saying? It's
They
like
already did it.
not in New Jersey.
Yeah. So with iPhones only, they have a part of it that so is where the passport is, but they have an option that says under there, says, would you like to add your photo ID? Is if you get pulled over, you don't have your license, the state of New Jersey is not going to approve, even PA. It won't be eligible, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? If you don't have it. But if you need it, let's say you need a couple numbers off your license, you can pop it open in your iPhone wallet.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, but that's what I'm saying. Like, have it where your license can be fully digital.
Yeah, they're going.
I know there's a ton of security stuff with that, and I think there might have been a couple states that approve it where you can have a digital license. But
yeah, Maryland's one of them.
But allowing you to just be able to say, hey, because I admit there have been times where I've left the house without my wallet, even even recently, where I'm in a rush, I'm in a hurry or whatnot, and I just oh snap, I forgot my wallet. And I got to call my wife to say, hey, can you bring my wallet or something like that, or I got to turn around and come back home or something. And it'd be cool if I just, here's it is on my phone, boom, scan it, and it's done. That to me, I think would help a lot of people out. They probably don't want it is because they got to make money. So it's like,
so the states that actually have approved it, and everybody's going to go jump on board on this, not if, because you need to get this, you have to get your physical license still, no matter what. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
So the states are Arizona, California, Colorado, Georgia, Hawaii, Iowa, Maryland, New Mexico, North Dakota, Ohio, Puerto Rico, and West Virginia. And believe it or not, Japan has their what they call the number card, pretty much like a license.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. That doesn't surprise
I'm sorry?
me. That doesn't surprise me, Japan.
Yeah. But you can on top, if you see right here what I have, you can download it as a digital ID still without that. But if you get pulled over without your license,
you gotta have your license. Yeah,
exactly. New Jersey is one of them. But let's say you are in Maryland, you get pulled over, you don't have your wallet, but you have it downloaded on your phone. They will accept that in Maryland.
Yeah.
So and they also are doing the digital passport. On that, so anywhere you go with your passport.
Well, that's another thing, because again, you can't, because the technologies that like we went to Grenada a couple months ago. They still have those old kind of passport machines where you they started issuing passport cards, like ID cards, years ago when we got ours back in 2021. They gave you a card. Now I'm thinking that's kind of cool, but it's not accepted everywhere. If you're at the airport, especially in an international airport, you still need the passport book, because the machines that read your card, they say, here, place your book, open it up, face down, and it scans it. Now, maybe in some more advanced countries, you can get away with the passport card. In fact, the passport card you could only use in the U.S. and the Caribbean. That's it. You can't use it overseas. So again, that's another thing. If digital ID, whether it
I
be
hate it.
passport or a driver's license, where you can show it anywhere and it shows up. I would like that to be the next. That would be the next front. So Craig, in UK, are they embracing digital ID instead of
No.
cards? Okay.
No, we physically prefer hard copy stuff.
Yeah.
I've lost my wallet, but my luckily I took a photo of my provisional.
hmm
But we don't want digital ID. We don't want it at all.
Yeah, see, that's the thing.
We're
Because
being
again, what if you
being forced with it?
Yeah.
We're actually being forced with it.
Right.
People in the work industry, like builders or something like that, right? If any of their employees do not have a digital ID, the employer will get fined £60,000 for it for each employee. We don't want it as much as I love the idea of having digital ID.
Right.
There is a bad side to it. There is a real bad side to it where they can.
Yeah, I
track
mean, security obviously these days it's a big deal. I'm not negating that there are security risks that may go with that. I mean,
yeah,
I
they
can
don't
understand
You
that.
have to have an Android phone, right, or an iPhone,
Right.
to have the digital ID, but they can track you wherever you go. If you have this digital ID and they want to track you, all they've got to do is put your details into their computer and they can physically track you.
So the problem with that, Greg, is
But they're doing it now. I mean, Google does
hang on
that
a second,
now.
Paul. So the problem with that is Europe is more Android users, an open-based system. Android is. We all know that, right?
Yeah.
So there are more possibilities of getting hacked and viruses and other shit, right?
Yeah.
Versus an iPhone is a closed-based system. You get what you get in a box. You can't change anything out of the box, and it is more secure. So that's one reason why.
Trying to fight that.
I'm sorry.
Our government's actually trying to fight Apple on that. The privacy on your iPhones.
Yeah.
And I think that's stupid, to be honest with you, bro. Because at least you have the privacy.
That's what our government wants. They want access to your text messages. Your
Well, like I said, they tried the same thing here, and I don't think they'll stop trying. When that Office of Homeland Security opened up, that was a big deal. It's like we got we're trying to track these terrorists, and you guys aren't letting us, be able to get information from their terrorist phones because, again, you have a principle of we don't open up our phones. So again, I don't think that issue is settled. And that's always going to be, like I said, a big security risk when it comes to that. So I understand the risks involved, but to the point, let's say if your wallet is stolen, right?
Our government tried to put it down as it's a work permit sort of thing, right? To stop immigration over here, right? It's really bad over here right now. So if you don't have a digital ID, you can't work in the UK.
Right.
That's what our government's got to do. Put it down as, right? They tried doing all types of stuff. It's Labour. We tried to put digital ID back in '94 when they were in power. We didn't accept it. They're trying to do it now with Keir Starmer in power. They tried to find one of your companies. I can't remember what company it is. I can't remember what it's called. To do with the internet access, because the servers ain't over here, but our servers that we mainly access are in the US. Yeah? Our country tried to get access to do whatever, like Wikipedia or some bollocks that's in the US. Try to gain access to people's private information that are on Wikipedia. Right? Let's say that on the American servers. Because they said no, our country sued the US, but because you've got like the Fifth Amendment law or something like that over there, or First Amendment, something like that, your country basically said, "Screw you, UK. We don't want to know. Yeah, you're not getting our private information, no matter who is registered on our systems." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's definitely about. But I would hate for a situation like, imagine if you lost your wallet, or someone stole your wallet. All the stuff that you would have to do you got to go down to and I don't know what it is in the UK, but the DMV or the MVS, what we call here, wait in all those lines to get your ID back or your credit cards or whatnot. That's why I love Apple Pay. I mean, I love the fact that, again, when I'm traveling more times than not, I don't have to have my credit card with me, only for certain things where they, again, some older countries you still got countries that still use the credit card. You put it in the thing and you swipe it and it takes a, go left and right and it still scans your card that way.
Oh, the slider.
I mean, if you're in an old school type of country that still uses old technology, you're probably going to need your credit card. But again, just to go through, get through the airports, buy stuff online, or you're flying and you want to order some extra food or whatever. Here's my Apple Pay. Boom, boom, it's done. At the hotel, you want to get some night snacks or whatever. If you don't charge it to the room, here's the app. It is so easy to move around with Apple Pay just to make these purchases. Again, there have been times where, again, I forgot my wallet, but I had my phone, and I'll ask, do you guys take Apple Pay? They said, yes. I'm like, thank you. And then boom, I get out and I'm moving and just make sure I get home, but I get stopped by anybody. But I'm just saying, but again, to go through all that hassle to try to get physical IDs, if you lose your passport, let's say, and that's very possible, you're in a foreign country or whatever, traveling, there's all kinds of things that can happen. You can lose your passport. Do you want to be stuck in a country or have to go to the embassy and try to get a passport at that point? But if you have it on your phone, then at least enough to get you out. They may say, okay, here, you showed us a digital copy of it. Yes, you're good. You got 30 days to get a new passport. Okay, fine. But at least let me be able to move and have and not be encumbered by that. I mean, I think that would be a good compromise. So yes, you have to physically have it, but in certain situations, you should be able to show a digital passport or driver's license or something, and that should be enough to at least say, hey, because all you want to know is, are you legal, right? That's what all this is for. Are you a citizen of where you say you're from? Or are you licensed to drive in your state? Do you have any violations? Do you have any outstanding warrants or outstanding tickets or whatever? You should be able to show that and be like, okay, fine. But just make sure next time, give me a summons or a warning. But say next time you get stopped like that, hey, you better have your physical ID.
Problem with that is you ever heard of social credit?
No.
You ever heard
That's
of
a UK thing. Yeah? No, we don't know that here in the States.
Japan are doing it. Hong Kong are doing it. They're all doing it. Yeah. China are doing it all. Yeah. A social thing. No matter how much you earn your money, right, and it's in your bank, if you've got limited social credit, you don't get access to your money. They're trying to do that here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's all to do with your social media posts, all of your email addresses, everything, anything that.
I thought that was only a movie thing, but yeah.
No, they're doing it. They do it in China right now. They're actually doing that in China.
Yeah? No, you can, to Eric's point, yes, you lose your wallet just as much as your phone, but at least you have something. I'm saying you can lose one or the other. If you lose your wallet and you still have your phone, it's going to be very difficult to move around, especially with that ID is required. I'm saying at the very least, use your phone as a backup that is legal and official, and then they can, it's just an added level of security. But let's face it, even to Craig's point, we got to understand we're probably going away from money anyway. Like, I know people are fighting stuff and whatnot. U.S. Mint just stopped printing the penny. There's probably other coins that they're probably gonna get out of the coin business altogether. Like, coins is gonna be a thing. Like, whatever's in circulation, they'll be slowly rolled out because, again, fewer people are using cash or certainly coins. They may still use cash, but not coins. And we may be going to this society where money. Why should the U.S. Mint keep printing money when more and more people are using, like I said, the Apple Pay or these digital means to book things or whatnot, and electronic transfer and all this kind of stuff? We may be moving it. In 50 years, there may not be a thing called money anymore. It may be all credits, just like you said. So I don't know if that's worth fighting per se. I just know that, just again, being a traveler, Not having to worry about cash, not having to worry about those things. It's a real benefit, especially if you travel a lot and you can just move. It's better for accounting. Like, because when I came back, I had to give like accountings of like what I spent on dinner, what I spent on travel, what I spent on gas or whatever. It's all there when I buy digitally. I don't have to save receipts. It's just all this like boom. It's I can just go back and have a record of everything.
What you're saying, Paul, and what Greg's saying, and it was what Eric's saying. So first of all, we are already moving away from money. I have not. Only time I carried cash was at Comic-Con, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And you saw most of most of those vendors had Apple Pay or or the touch some kind of credit card system there.
Right.
95% was credit card, but you also got some deals if you have paid cash. But that's a different subject for a different conversation. So with losing your phone, yeah, you can lose your phone. I have never lost my phone. I never lost my wallet. Knock on wood. But you can literally call right there in a moment. Like, listen, I lost my phone. Lock my phone, so nobody can have access. In 24 hours, you got a new phone, and you put your password. Boom, you're back in. So that's, I think, is a better option, digital. And no offense, Eric, that the old head mentality of yours is going to be stuck in the past. I love you to death, brother, but you got to move with the time sometimes. So cash is absolutely. I've been saying this for weeks. I've seen this for months. I've been saying this for years, and people have argued with me. And now I'm proven right again, because look what's happening with the penny. For you, like you said, pennies first, then
nickels probably next, dimes, quarter. I mean. We stopped printing 50 cent. Remember the 50 cent piece? The 50 cent.
I remember the dollar one.
Yeah. We stopped those.
So look at Easy Pass, bro. If you don't have an Easy Pass, you cannot go through.
That's another one. Thank you. Again on because I commute on the turnpike every day. I use Easy Pass twice a day, 4 days a week.
Yeah.
So imagine standing in the line where you have to get the guy still there gives you a ticket, or you got to pay cash. You're waiting there forever. Easy Pass, you just go through. I mean, what would my commuting be if I didn't have Easy Pass? That's another technology that, again, you take for granted every day, but yeah, it's useful. And then they're doing auto debit off my card. I don't have to, if I want to know a record, especially my girls when they travel, I know exactly where they are, because I can go to Easy Pass, log into Easy Pass. I know where all the tolls and tickets are and where they've been going with stuff. And like I said, it's easy. The Easy Pass lanes versus the ticket lanes. Oh, that'd be brutal if I had to do that every day. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
in a way, I kind of feel bad too, because a lot of people did lose their jobs when that happened.
But it's got like what I started the show with. Amazon is looking to lay off 500,000 workers.
Yep.
Through AI and robotics in the near future. So again, this is where it's going. We already see what's happening with checkout lines. You have your self checkout at the stores. You go to McDonald's. You order off a board. You go in, there's a digital. I want this, and this. Boom. Or you order on your app. And when you get there, boom, you pick it up and keep it moving.
Well, you got these 3D printed homes now, haven't you?
Yeah. I mean, so there's so many ways
of building your home. You need less workers.
Right. So and these are things, like I said, just to, I'm at a store up, kind of negative with the conversation, but I'm saying these are things that we have to consider. Yes, this technology is cool. It's great. It gives us a lot of conveniences. But what happens when, from what I understand right now, Tesla self-drive is 90% accurate, 95% accurate, 99% accurate?
95, 98, something like that.
I'm just saying, what if they fix that 2%? Then what's going to happen to taxi driver? Your dad was a taxi driver, right?
Yeah, they already said it in I think California. It's called Robo Taxi. They already showed them off.
Yeah,
a demo last year.
Yeah,
and people were going crazy for them.
Yeah, but like a Total Recall. Welcome to Johnny Cab. It's going to
be yes.
Yeah, so I'm just saying. So you're gonna so when that happens, when you get like a 99.5 or whatever threshold that they're looking for, and you can do it in an environment like London. So I can imagine London traffic is horrendous, just like New York traffic or LA traffic is horrendous.
Well, they're trying to do away with black cab. You remember the old black taxis in London?
Yeah.
They're trying to. There's literally very few of them now.
Right.
It's because of Sadiq Khan.
Right.
It's stupid. It's absolutely gone mental up there at the moment.
Now you just went to one last area. I know we're kind of getting towards the end of the show. I would say this: as much as I have concerns about technology, I am a bit disappointed in that I don't think we're technologically advanced enough. Like I said, I got a friend of mine for work. He just got back from Japan. You want to talk about metro and public transit? Japan's got that like on lock. It is so easy. It is so easy. And they got those bullet trains, you talk about the traffic like on Pete, on the Northeast corridor going from Washington to New York or what have you. Again, these bullet trains, he's like, you're on the train, you don't even feel motion. You're traveling 300 miles an hour and you don't feel anything. They run on magnets. There's no bumps. You ride the trains here in the States, you feel the ka-chunk, 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 ka-chunk. You feel that. 300 miles an hour, you don't feel nothing. I mean, they've had bullet trains in Japan since the 70s.
Do you guys remember the old slam doors on trains?
The what?
Slam doors.
Slam doors, no.
If you ever look up the old trains from the 80s and 90s, people had to physically slam the doors on the trains. That's hence why they were called slam doors.
Oh, okay, I got you. But even UK, like UK to Paris, don't they have like a bullet train that goes from UK to Paris?
Yeah,
like,
they do.
I mean, there is no. They're trying to do like local trains, like maybe from LA to San Francisco or something like that. But they've been trying to get a Northeast corridor bullet train for years. Excella is the only.
A lot bigger than us.
Yeah, Excella is the only thing we got over here, and the trains only go like 120 miles an hour. That'd be like 180 kpm in if I was to convert it. But again, we're not doing like that big stuff. But like Japan, when it comes to transportation and moving people around, because I asked him, what's the most impressive thing from your time in Japan? And without question, he said it's the transportation system. Bar none. He said, look, you do not need a car for anything in Japan.
If you want to know more about technologies, look up on YouTube Abandoned Engineering.
Yeah.
TV series, Abandoned Engineering, if you've ever heard of it.
Right.
Yeah. That goes all the way back to they've got one where there's a cannon on top of a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
But how the hell did it get up there? It's huge. Yeah, you've got loads of different things on there. Old technology.
Here's my issue with what Paul is saying. He's 100% right. I'm not going to push back. I'm actually going to add to the subject. I think it's a money issue there somehow, some way.
Oh yeah, money, politics. Again, certain interests. Again, unfortunately, in this country, it's like if someone wins technologically wise, someone's going to lose.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. So you got lobbyists, you got people who want to, put basically, just mess up the engine. I mean, but again, there's progress. There's things that we should be 20, 30 years ahead of. There's a lot of technologies that are in Europe. Like I remember my wife was going for laser. She got a consultation. She was thinking about laser eye surgery 5 years ago. They wouldn't do it here. Like her strength is kind of strong. They wouldn't do it. But they said like in Europe, they're doing stuff in Europe that it still takes 5 to 7 years to get here in the US because of the system, because it takes 7 years for technology to get approved here in the US. But they're already doing it in Europe. So they're advanced in a lot of ways when it comes to medicine and things of that nature. So it's like, those are things that I wish that people would move on. Again, technology that serves people, that makes things better. But again, it's not about making people better. It's about just making money.
And like they try to experiment with two different things. I remember we were doing like a auto delivery kind of thing with Domino's. If the car was like autonomous, it would drive come around, it'll tell you when it's here, and it open the back, and the pizza will go come right out. You pick it up, and it was singing doo, 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 doo. Now leaving. Please step back, and the Domino's car will leave. That didn't last long because obviously we had issues with the auto drive. You know what I'm saying? The other one they were talking about too, what's called it, was they were going to use droids for Amazon, so they will get rid of all the drivers, and they will come, line down, drop off, and go. So, but let's start wrapping up. Greg, you want to go first? Paul, you last.
Well, technology is always good and bad, really. You got tech that's brilliant, and you got the tech that's old. The old tech's better, to be honest with you. That's all. Sorry.
No, I like I said, it's great discussion tonight, and like I really like the when we went into again tech. That's not just about computers and phones and whatnot, but just again the day-to-day things you cook with, your coffee maker, GPS. Like I said, things that really help you on a regular basis. There's still a lot of room there. There's still a lot of room to grow, and I think we are as a country. We're several years behind. HD TV came out in Japan about 10, 12 years before it came here in the U.S. And so those are things that really, I wish that, there would be more of an interest in getting those things here because, again, I think it helps people. But, again, at the same time, we also got to worry about what is all this technology going to do to workers and jobs and things of that nature. Those are concerns as well that I'm definitely sensitive to. But yeah, things will certainly continue, and I definitely think we'll be a fully digital society. Certainly within, I would say, 20 years on the outset. I think we will have digital IDs in 20 years. I think money will be basically all digital in 20 years, and I think that I think that's inevitable. So I'd rather embrace it now than later, but I think these things are definitely coming.
So I'm going to push back a little bit. I think we're going to have digital ideas in the year, 2 years tops. They're already pushing it out. So it's only time for the states to get on board. That's it. But let's do a quick schedule update, guys. So tomorrow we have Frank Lee coming on the show, our special guest. He is a active military member, and he does a lot of crossplay with Iron Man stuff at cons and stuff like that. I'm looking forward to having a conversation with him. And yes, he has confirmed with us for tomorrow. And off Monday, back on Saturday, we're talking about stop wasting. Stop waiting for the right time. Take action now. And Sean will be back, and it's a little wacky. I will fix that soon. So we are having a anime show. Hopefully, David's gonna feel better. And next week we're talking about Knight Rider. So accept that. Greg, anything else on your side?
No, not at all.
So, Paul, last words.
I'm good, sir.
Guys, as always, this was the Spartan Execute Network. I am the Spartan. He is my UK buddy. He is the president. Stay fresh, stay safe, and I'll see you guys on the next one.